They can feel you before they see you. Rooms shift, eyes dart, the air thickens, not with fear, but with the knowing something holy just walked in. Your energy is not random. It's the overflow of alignment. When your roots go deep into truth, your frequency becomes a beacon, steady, unshakable, impossible to counterfeit. People register it before their minds can name it. They lean closer without knowing why. Or they step back, suddenly uneasy, because light just touched their shadow. Spiritual authority works in the subconscious before it reaches the surface. This is the warning. Some are unsettled not because you've done them wrong, but because their spirit has already read yours. They see no chinks in your armor, no cracks to exploit. It unnerves them. True authority never begs for a stage. It doesn't demand applause. It doesn't shout to be heard. It commands quietly, effortlessly, because integrity is its microphone, and heaven is its amplifier. You carry a resonance of divine order. In chaos, you become a tuning fork. Confusion snaps into clarity. Disorder realigns without a meeting, without a speech, just by you being there. Your stillness is a weapon. It disrupts hidden agendas the way light scatters darkness. The calm in your spirit acts as a mirror, forcing impure motives to stare at themselves. And many can't bear their own reflection. Environments know your rank even if people don't. Just as creation bows to the laws of its creator, hearts adjust when you step in. Posture changes. Tone softens. Even those who resist you can't help but take notice. Before you speak, your spirit has already entered the room. It's the invisible announcement, faster than sound, sharper than sight. Like the wind before the storm, your presence warns or welcomes before your lips ever part. Some can feel it instantly. They sense whether you are a safe harbor for truth or a danger zone for deception. They may smile at you while secretly shifting their stance, because the spirit in them just read the spirit in you. Your eyes tell more than words, not because they wander, but because they see. You don't just notice expressions, you pierce through them. Your gaze makes masks feel pointless. For some, it is relief. For others, it is exposure. Those who are ready for healing can't explain why they trust you so quickly. They only know their heart exhales when you enter. Their spirit recognizes your frequency, the way a wounded child recognizes the voice of a parent calling them home. It's not comfort born of familiarity, it's comfort born of truth. You move differently in conversation. Small talk feels too thin, too hollow to hold the weight you carry. You aren't impatient, you're intentional. So your words bypass the surface and touch the marrow. That alone draws some closer while pushing others away. And here is the warning. Your discernment is not casual, it's surgical. If someone's sense of peace relies on keeping certain truths buried, your presence becomes a risk they can't afford. They may retreat, not because you harmed them, but because you threaten the illusions they need to survive. Some people open their hearts before they even realize it. Confessions spill without planning. Secrets unfold without prompting. It's not manipulation, it's the gravitational pull of your authenticity. Your spirit emits safety, not judgment, and in that safety, walls crumble. But make no mistake, darkness recognizes its own exposure. Those guarding lies or hidden motives feel the blade of light you carry. They step back, build walls, and craft distance to protect the shadow from your sight. This is the paradox of your gift. Your energy polarizes without malice. You do not decide who loves or fears you. You simply stand, and the truth decides for you. Light doesn't negotiate with darkness, it reveals it. Those in alignment with you feel time collapse. They speak to you like they've known you forever. Barriers dissolve, and trust accelerates, because spirit-to-spirit recognition needs no introduction. You are a living mirror. For the open-hearted, you reflect the gold of their highest potential. They look into your eyes and see the version of themselves heaven intended. But for the closed-hearted, you reflect the truths they are not yet ready to face. And in that moment, they choose lean closer to transformation or step back into the comfort of denial. Authority works in the unseen first. Before anyone greets you, something in their atmosphere has already shifted. They may feel lighter or suddenly convicted and not know why. The unseen bows before the seen catches up. This is why heaven backs you, not because of charm, not because of charisma, but because of the assignments and covenants written over your life before you took your first breath. You are a vessel on divine contract, and the kingdom invests in what you carry. Your presence is a dividing line. It activates those who are ready for truth. Peace washes over them. It agitates those resisting truth. Exposure burns them. Both reactions are confirmation that the same power is at work. And this influence is permanent. Charisma is a stage light. It fades when the crowd goes home. But spiritual authority is the sun. It rises wherever you go, whether the room is full or you stand completely alone. You cannot switch it off. You cannot hide it, because it is not a performance. It is your destiny. Your rise doesn't just lift you. It shakes the ladder they thought they owned. You were safe when you stayed beneath them. Predictable, manageable. But the moment you climbed higher, you disrupted the hidden hierarchy they secretly depended on to feel important. Their praise was never covenant, it was contract. And the terms were clear, though unspoken. Stay in your lane, don't surpass me, and I will clap for you. But the moment you stepped beyond those limits, the applause turned to whispers, and the whispers turned to silence. Your elevation is a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. When they see you running, they see where they've stopped. When they see you building, they remember what they abandoned. Your progress confronts the parts of them they hope to bury. Hidden envy wears a smile in public. It claps, but not too loudly. It congratulates, but not for too long. And deep inside, it waits for the day you trip, so it can pretend it saw it coming all along. This is the warning. Every visible win paints a target in the invisible realm. Spiritual warfare often intensifies after victory, not because you failed, but because you succeeded, and the attack may not come from strangers. Sometimes, it moves through familiar faces, close enough to wound you, where it hurts most. Not everyone is built for the cost of your calling. Your triumphs are receipts of the sacrifices you've made, sacrifices others avoided, and your breakthrough reminds them of the price they weren't willing to pay. Your growth threatens old agreements. Some bonds survive only when both parties stay small. The moment you break free, they see it as betrayal, because your freedom proves theirs was always possible. Blessings are magnifiers. They make good hearts brighter. They make bitter hearts darker. For the pure-hearted, your rise is fuel for their own faith. For the bitter-hearted, it is evidence that God chose you, and they can't explain why. Some were never rooting for you, only for the version of you that served their needs. Your breakthrough changes the equation. When you can no longer be used, their loyalty evaporates like mist in the morning sun. Light is not neutral. It heals, but it also exposes. And the closer someone stands to it, the more it reveals what's hidden. Your breakthrough didn't just elevate you. It forced the masks around you to fall. Now you see who was truly with you, and who was only standing close for the benefits. Because when you walk in the power of a chosen one, Heaven will not allow shadows to stay hidden in your circle. Discernment is not suspicion, it is sight in the spirit. It's the ability to read the temperature of a soul without a single word being spoken. It bypasses the glitter of charm, the polish of credentials, the mask of appearances, and it drills straight into intent. A prophetic mantle makes this sharper than steel. What you sense often comes before evidence, like thunder before the rain. And when the proof finally shows up, it only confirms what your spirit whispered long before your mind could explain it. Truth doesn't beg to be believed, it resonates. It hums in your chest like a tuning fork that only vibrates when struck by heaven's frequency. And when something is false, it clangs wrong inside you, out of harmony with the truth you carry. You feel it before you name it. Lies land heavy in your atmosphere. The room feels tighter. Your chest feels weight. A hidden warning echoes inside you. Something is not as it seems. And here's the strange thing you often know without knowing how you know. It's like your spirit has already walked the scene, studied the angles, and left you a prophetic report. Later, when the facts surface, they fit perfectly into the map heaven already placed in your hands. This clarity is not harmless to the enemy, it is disruptive. Those who thrive on deception find their webs unravel in your presence, thread by thread, without you even touching them. They feel exposed without confrontation, seen without accusation. Because prophetic vision doesn't just see the now. It weaves together patterns from the past, the present, and the future. You see where the roots began, how the branches grew, and where the fruit will fall even when others can't see a single leaf yet. And you don't just spot the lie, you feel the spiritual bloodstream that feeds it. fear's cold grip, pride's sharp edge, greed's sticky pull, or darker currents that reek of manipulation and control. Discernment tells you who sent the message, not just what the message says. But here's the part most miss: seeing truth is not the same as speaking it. Prophetic maturity knows that timing is a weapon. Sometimes heaven tells you to speak instantly. Other times, he locks the word inside you until the moment it will strike with precision. Because the weight of accuracy is not for ego. It is not proof that you are special. It is a covenant, a divine trust meant to guard the innocent, guide the lost, and align the willing back to the path of destiny. This is why your discernment is feared. It is why the enemy works overtime to cloud your vision with distraction, offense, or weariness. Because when you see clearly, you cannot be controlled. And a chosen one who cannot be controlled is a chosen one who cannot be stopped. Silence is not weakness. It is a weapon forged in the secret place. It slices through pretense without lifting a blade. It leaves space for truth to echo louder than accusation. When you say nothing, the noise around you loses its grip. The schemes, the whispers, the carefully rehearsed narratives, they start to unravel, thread by thread, until the unspoken becomes undeniable. Stillness is mastery over impulse. Anyone can shout, anyone can react, but it takes a spirit anchored in heaven to hold the line in quiet. This is the posture of one who knows their destiny cannot be stolen by noise. Spiritual authority does not beg to be heard. It knows its words carry weight. It knows its silence can carry more. When you withhold your voice, you keep truth pure, undiluted by the heat of argument. And in that quiet, something happens. Those with hidden motives cannot stand the gap you've left. They scramble to fill it. They over-explain. They contradict themselves. They expose what they worked so hard to hide. This is why manipulation fears stillness. Its power depends on pulling you into its dance. When you refuse to join, the entire performance collapses. Your lack of defense is not surrender. It is a warning. It says, I am backed by a higher witness. You stand in the same silence that Jesus held before Pilate, knowing heaven's verdict is already sealed. And those who sought to provoke you find themselves unnerved, because they cannot fight what refuses to fight back. Silence, in this world of constant noise, is a prophetic act of resistance. Every quiet moment is a visible rejection of chaos. It says, I will not let the spirit of this age dictate my frequency. And because you have waited, because you have held your peace, when you finally speak, your words land with the weight of prophecy. The room stills. Hearts lean forward. Even your enemies must listen. Your quiet presence recalibrates the atmosphere. Without lifting a hand, without raising your voice, you shift the emotional climate. You invite calm to those who are ready to receive it. You awaken conviction in those who cannot escape it. And in those moments you remain still. Heaven moves. Walls fall without your push. Doors open without your knock. Battles are won without your sword. Because sometimes, the greatest victory is not in what you say, but in what you refuse to say. The weight of your warfare is the measure of your calling. The size of your opposition is the prophecy of your assignment. Hell does not mobilize its forces for the ordinary, only for the ones carrying keys that unlock destiny. You've wondered why the disruptions feel so targeted. It's because they are. The enemy reads the signs of your movement. He sees the direction you're heading before you arrive, and he knows that if you take just a few more steps, the chains he's guarded for generations will snap under your feet. Every interruption is a warning in disguise, not from heaven, but from hell, his frantic attempt to keep you from what's next. He invests resources where your influence is most dangerous to his agenda. You are not under random attack. You are under strategic fire, because you are a strategic threat. And this is where the hidden power lies: your peace. Peace is not passive. It is not weakness. It is a weapon forged in the silence of trust. When you refuse to be provoked, you strip him of the one thing he needs to control you: your reaction. Remember this: storms always rage harder right before land is in sight. Disruption often precedes divine acceleration. The turbulence is not a sign you're off course. It's proof you're minutes away from breakthrough. Every pushback you feel is the last gasp of a system that knows its time is running out. Sometimes the agitation you sense has no face, no name, no visible cause. That's because your very presence is dismantling invisible systems. Structures that stood unchallenged for decades are crumbling simply because you stepped into the territory. The shift isn't always loud in the natural, but it's an earthquake in the spirit. Your targeting is constant because your rank is recognized. You might feel overlooked on earth, but in the unseen, your name is spoken in the war rooms of hell. Not with honor, but with fear. You are known not for your fame, but for the havoc you cause to the kingdom of darkness. And when you hold your peace under fire, something prophetic happens. Your stillness exposes the weakness of the attacker. You prove that their reach is shorter than they claimed. You reveal that their roar is bigger than their bite. Every trial you endure without surrender is a forge. It tempers your authority. It makes you unshakable. It gives weight to your words, so that when you speak, heaven backs every syllable. The resistance you feel is confirmation you're walking in the right direction. Warfare does not chase those standing still. It hunts those who are advancing into territory they were told they'd never take. And the real battle? It's not for your body. It's not even for your possessions. It's for your voice. If the enemy cannot silence you outright, he will try to drain you until you silence yourself. Guard your peace, because it guards your sound. And your sound, once released, shakes the gates of hell. Some blessings don't arrive with ribbons and gold. They arrive in the middle of a storm. They arrive with resistance clinging to them like thorns to a rose. This is not punishment. This is protection. If the gift came easily, if it shone too brightly too soon, every hand that didn't deserve it would try to grab it. Heaven knows how to shield what is sacred until you're strong enough to hold it. God uses battle as training ground. Victory before preparation is a curse in disguise. It crushes instead of crowns. Like David facing Goliath, your victories are preceded by lions and bears. Small fights that teach you timing. Hidden fights that teach you focus. Because the throne without the wilderness would break you. The enemy sees the seed before you do. He saw Moses in a basket before Moses saw the burning bush. He saw Joseph's coat before Joseph saw the palace. This is the warning. If warfare has intensified around something you barely understand yet, it's because the enemy has already read its potential. He tries to make you walk away before you know what you're walking away from. Battles strip away the wrong alliances. Not everyone who sings in your victory parade would have survived the march through the valley. Some only celebrate you when it costs them nothing. But the battle exposes those who would slow you down, drain your energy, or sabotage your ascent. It's mercy when they leave now, so they're not present when your harvest comes. Conflict sharpens your discernment. You start seeing the difference between a door and a distraction, between a helper and a handler, between an opportunity sent by God and a counterfeit sent to drain you. The battlefield becomes the classroom where you learn to read the invisible signatures on everything that enters your life. Pressure reveals your capacity. Gold is not forged in comfort. Olive oil is not released without crushing. The very weight you feel pressing against you is shaping the container that will hold the blessing without spilling it, without breaking under it. Blessings that come through battle protect your humility. You arrive grateful, not entitled. You know the cost. You remember the sleepless nights, the whispered prayers, the days you almost quit. And because you remember, pride can't live here. The intensity of warfare is proportional to the impact of the gift. A blessing that shifts your life for a season draws a fight. A blessing that shifts history for generations draws an army. If the opposition is fierce, it's because the outcome is prophetic. Hidden blessings require spiritual eyes. They're not always wrapped in beauty, they're sometimes buried in difficulty. You have to see through the dirt to recognize the diamond. Many miss theirs because they reject anything that doesn't feel like ease. And here's the truth, God often forges the blessing and the warrior at the same time. The process is not two separate journeys. The fight is the forge. The war is the womb. And when you emerge, you won't just have the blessing, you'll become the kind of person who can guard it, multiply it, and carry it without losing your soul. They thought holding on would make you strong. But Heaven whispers a different warning, that strength is proven in your release, not in your grip. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is a spiritual weapon forged in the fire of obedience. When you forgive, you dismantle the enemy's leverage. Unforgiveness is a legal foothold in the courts of the unseen, a door he enters through again and again. Release it, and you slam that door shut so violently that the echo shakes the chains off your own soul. You can pray for peace until your voice is hoarse, but if resentment still hides in the corners of your heart, peace cannot anchor. It slips through like water through broken hands. Forgiveness is the seal. It is the prophetic act that locks in the peace you've been asking for. When you release the debt, you hand the case over to heaven, no longer judged by your emotions. It becomes ruled by divine justice. And justice, when it comes from the throne, is perfect. It leaves no residue. It cleans the wound and closes it in one move. Mercy is a weapon the enemy cannot predict. He expects your retaliation. He plans for your defense. But when you respond with grace instead, it throws his entire strategy into disarray. He is left holding weapons that now point back at him. Bitterness clouds your vision. It fogs the voice of God in your spirit. Letting go clears the line. The static vanishes, and suddenly, instructions come sharper, faster, with precision you couldn't access before. This is why forgiveness accelerates divine justice. When your hands are clean from vengeance, heaven's hands are free to act. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And when you step back, he steps forward, and his timing is perfect down to the second. Hatred contaminates more than your heart, it poisons your atmosphere. It seeps into your decisions, your relationships, your words. When you remove it, you purify the space around you, until even your silence feels like a sanctuary. Once offense is gone, grace flows like a river, unblocked, unrestricted. It flows through you, and mysteriously, even those who wronged you start to feel its touch. Because blessing is not selfish. It spills, it leaks, it overflows. When you forgive, you are declaring war. You are making a prophetic announcement to both heaven and hell. This wound will not define me. This betrayal will not bury me. This pain will not set the terms of my destiny. You're saying, I am untouchable, because I've placed my heart in the only hands that cannot drop it. And that, chosen one, is a victory the enemy cannot undo. You see it before the world sees it, long before the headline, long before the whispers spread. It comes to you in the night, when your mind is quiet and your spirit is most awake. Your spirit catches patterns your mind hasn't yet connected, threads from different days, different places, weaving themselves into one vision. Heaven speaks when the noise is gone, and what you think is just a dream is actually a prophetic preview, an encrypted message from the higher court. The message rarely comes plain. It arrives in symbols, cloaked for protection. A lion in the hallway, a storm over a single tree, an empty table in a room full of voices. These images are not random. They are divine codes, hiding the essence from those who would misuse it, while guiding you toward what matters most. What you see is not locked fate. It is a probability snapshot. It's the most likely outcome based on the alignments in motion right now. This is not given so you can sit back and wait for it to unfold. It's an invitation to pray, to prepare, to step in and shift what could be. Confirmation will come in whispers before the world shouts it. A phrase someone says without thinking. An image you see again in waking life. A location that suddenly appears on the news. These pre-echoes are heaven's way of saying, you heard me right. And here's the warning, this is not for applause. This is not so you can post it first, or prove you knew. You are trusted with early sight for one reason, intercession. You are a guard on the wall. You see so you can stand. You know so you can shield. Authentic previews don't come with frenzy. They don't drown you in panic. They settle in your spirit like a steady flame, calm authority, not chaos. Counterfeits will spike your fear and drive you to act recklessly. Truth from heaven will steady you, align you, and give you the next step. Accuracy grows with obedience. When you honor the small insights, more comes. When you act on the whispers, the trumpet sounds get louder. The signal becomes clearer. The interference weaker. Pay attention to the timing. Do these visions come in clusters? Do they circle around the same themes, your family, your city, your nation? That's your watchman assignment. You are not meant to cover every wall, only the one heaven has stationed you on. Write it down. Dates, symbols, details. Because in time, the record will separate what was imagination from what was fulfilled prophecy. And the proof will not just be in your memory, it will be in history. Early sight is a covenantal trust, and trust has boundaries. You don't speak everything you see. You don't expose what will harm before it heals. Being right too soon can still be wrong. And heaven cares about timing as much as truth. Prophecy doesn't always arrive in thunder and lightning. Sometimes it's buried deep in your bones, woven into your DNA, before you ever took your first breath. You're walking it out before you've even named it, living an assignment that's older than your lifetime. The script was written generations ago, and you're the scene the world has been waiting for. The enemy knows this. He studies patterns, not just actions. He has seen these alignments before, this timing, this convergence. He remembers what happened the last time a vessel like you rose. History shifted. Strongholdsfell. The kingdom advanced. And now, he sees the same signs forming in you. That's why resistance comes early. Long before the crowd knows your name. Long before you even see your own reflection clearly. You're hit hardest in seasons when you feel the most ordinary, because darkness recognizes the weight you carry before you do. Hell reads your potential like a warning label. Heaven calls it destiny. But scrolls don't open while you're standing still. They unfurl in the motion of obedience. Every step forward pulls another seal loose. Every yes to God reveals another hidden line of the story. You find that certain parts of your calling can only be unlocked on the road, never in the safety of waiting rooms. Your very presence has a catalytic effect. Without trying, you awaken dormant prophecies in others. A look, a word, an act of courage, and suddenly, assignments in people's spirits begin to stir again. What was buried starts breathing. Your obedience multiplies itself in places you will never even see. That's the chain reaction the enemy fears. Not just you, but the wave you set in motion. One act of faith from you can shift bloodlines, cities, and even nations. It's not the size of the stone, it's the magnitude of the ripples. And yet, prophetic fulfillment rarely announces itself with fanfare. You may be completing an ancient word in the smallest, most ordinary act of obedience, while the people around you only sense the weight without knowing why. The unseen keeps its secrets until the right moment. This is why resistance grows more unusual, more specific, as you move closer to the mark. You've noticed it, the attacks become strangely targeted, aimed at details no one else should know. That's because the closer you arc toward your appointed place, the more the enemy throws at you to divert you. But here's the divine mercy. Heaven withholds full disclosure until you're ready. If you knew the exact scope too soon, your steps could be sabotaged before the foundation was set. Some victories require a season of holy unawareness protection in the form of mystery. And so, the enemy's fear is his confession. His agitation isn't about who you are in this moment. It's about who you are becoming. It's about the prophecy your life will inevitably seal. No detour, no delay, only the unfolding of what was spoken before the foundations of the world. 10 signs you're walking in the power of a chosen one.